Okay, so you want to own a metro station? You walk down into the station at rush hour, and the sheer scale of it hits you. Thousands of people moving through in a single hour, streaming past kiosks, retail windows, giant illuminated ad screens. You think somebody is getting rich off all this foot traffic. You could own this. You could own the busiest metro station in the city, except you can't. Not really. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. You don't own the trains. You don't collect a single fare. The transit authority runs the rails, sets the schedule, keeps every dollar of ticket revenue. So if you don't own the trains and you don't own the fares, what exactly are you profiting from? The answer isn't the station. It's what's built into it and around it. Let's break down how this actually works. In most cities, metro stations are publicly owned and operated. Full stop. No private ownership at all. But there's one model that flips that completely. Hong Kong's MTR runs on what's called Rail Plus property. The transit authority doesn't just build stations, it builds shopping malls, office towers, and apartment complexes directly on top of and around them, then captures the real estate value that its own train line creates. That's the real template for making money on a metro station. Not owning the station, owning what the station makes valuable. So here's the actual entry point, because nobody builds their own metro station from scratch. What you can actually buy into is a concession, retail lease rights inside the station footprint, advertising contracts on the walls and platforms, sometimes even naming rights to the station itself. That's the real asset, and it comes with real costs. Building out a retail unit inside a working transit station isn't like renting a storefront on Main Street. You're fitting out a space inside an active public facility under transit authority rules, transit authority security requirements, transit authority hours. Every material, every fixture has to clear a level of fire and safety compliance most retailers never think about. And you're doing it in a space where thousands of strangers walk past every single hour. Which means your insurance premium reflects that exposure before you've sold a single coffee. Here's the part that makes the whole thing either brilliant or brutal. Your rent is priced against guaranteed foot traffic. The transit schedule runs on rails, literally, so in theory, your customer flow is locked in. But that guarantee is also the trap, because the moment that traffic stops, a service disruption, a strike, a schedule cut, your revenue doesn't dip, it evaporates. You can't hang a sign outside and pull in walk-ins from the street. If the trains stop, you stop. Now the real math. Underground retail rent in a high-traffic station can run several times higher per square foot than an equivalent street-level shop, because the landlord, whether that's the transit authority or a leasing company, knows exactly how many eyeballs pass that spot every day. Advertising space works the same way. A digital screen in a station with 500,000 daily riders commands a premium most billboard companies would kill for, because the audience isn't just large, it's captive. And naming rights, an entire station renamed after a bank or a university, have become a real growing revenue line for transit authorities looking to fund operations without raising fares. But here's where the whole model breaks. When the pandemic hit, subway and metro ridership in major cities collapsed by more than 90% almost overnight. Every retailer, every advertiser who had built a business model on guaranteed foot traffic watched that traffic disappear in a matter of weeks. Rent didn't drop. Leases didn't pause. The exact thing that made station retail so valuable, captive, guaranteed foot traffic, became the exact thing that destroyed it the moment that traffic vanished. So how does anyone actually make real money off this? Diversify past the retail lease. Digital ad screens that can be sold and updated without a physical footprint. Vending and kiosk leasing, smaller bets that are cheaper to walk away from. Pop-up space rental for events, seasonal markets, temporary activations that don't require a long-term lease commitment. And this is why real estate investors care about metro stations at all, even without owning a square inch of the platform. Proximity value. Property near a metro station appreciates, sometimes dramatically, the moment a new line is announced. The Hong Kong MTR model takes that logic all the way. The transit authority builds the line, then builds and sells the real estate around it, essentially profiting twice from the same infrastructure. You don't need to own the station. You need to own what's next to it before everyone else realizes what it's about to become.
Picture 2 years side by side. In a normal year, ridership holds steady, the retail leases stay full, the ad screens sell out their inventory, and the whole ecosystem around the station generates real, predictable revenue on top of the fares nobody in that ecosystem ever collects. In a disruption year, a service cut, a pandemic, a prolonged strike, that entire revenue stack collapses at once because every single business model in that station was built on the same foundation. So the next time you walk through a packed metro station and think somebody must be getting rich off all this traffic, you're right. Just not in the way you'd guess. Nobody owns the station. Everybody profits from the walk through it. The real asset was never the trains, and it was never the platform. It was always the foot traffic itself. And somebody figured out how to charge for it before you ever noticed you were the product.